Hello my friends, here we are, watching my train go round, and I've created a river, which is pretty cool. I'll stop that in a sec. If it makes it round. Okay, maybe you can hear me better now. Okay, so I've made a river to go next to my little caravan scene. Here it is. Yeah, I thought I could explain roughly how I made it. Here's my river so far. I just drew it up in Photoshop in the ordinary way and printed it out, and then I've laminated it with a laminator, so it's a bit plasticky and a bit shinily like. Yeah, so my next step is to cut out the rest of this that I don't need, and I'm going to, where it's green, I'm actually going to cover that with polyfiller, paint it, flock it, and I'm going to put some rocks along the riverbank, but I'm going to leave the water like that. Here it is with the polyfiller. The issue was, when I was doing it, is that it was basically not sticking to the laminated paper. So I'm going to leave it to dry and fingers crossed it sticks. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to glue it probably on there. Failing that, my other idea is to put some, like maybe PVA glue or some kind of glue down. First, let it dry, then do polyfilling on top of that, so there's the kind of buffer, frictiony layer of the glue. But I'm hoping it won't come to that. I'm hoping it will just stick when it dries. So, fingers crossed, we'll have to see. And then I kind of made the mistake of doing some of this stuff in the wrong order. So I made some polyfiller, crumbled it up into little rocks, and glued those rocks on around the banks, which I shouldn't have done at first, because when I came to paint it, that was really fiddly. I should have painted it, maybe painted the rocks separately, and then glued them on. But I was dumb, and I didn't do that. And then I painted it green. I painted the sort of sandy-ish banks, then painted the rocks, the undercoat. Then next thing I did is flocked it, just like I've done all the time with my sawdust flock, and then I did the highlights on the rocks, and it was done. And originally I was intending it to come further. You can see it's too short. And that's partly because, well, it's pretty much 100% because both my printer and my laminator have a maximum size of A4. But I figure I could do it modular. If I want to extend it a bit more, I can add to this end, which I probably will end up doing at some point if I can sort of match the colours and so on. Yeah, but it's kind of like a modular river that could be placed wherever I feel like it. My plan is over here, not quite as far as the alpaca farm, but just on this straight. My plan is to put a church and graveyard, so I don't want that river going too far along, but probably I could put that right up to the church when I've built the church and its graveyard and stuff, and then I can measure how much more river I need on that end. But I'm pretty happy with it. It looks quite good, I think. It looks quite realistic. Maybe at some point I'll get like, oh, there's a bit of crap in there. Hang on. Some of the flock is still not sticking. Between the flocking, I tend to use, put a sock over a vacuum cleaner and vacuum it. And I did it on this. A piece of the polyfiller snapped off. So I had to be very careful with that. I've glued it back on. Hopefully it's there permanently now. But yeah, I was saying I may stick a canoeist on here if I can find a nice canoeist figurine. And I think I need to do something about backdrop. Now, I know you can buy backdrops, but I kind of like the idea of taking a sort of panoramic picture of a place that I know. Maybe there's a place that I go to in Wales, there's also a place I go to in France. Maybe I could take it in one of those two places. Maybe Wales would be a bit more in keeping with what I'm doing, although Wales is mountainous and my layout is, by necessity, quite flat. Though I might be trying to do something about that soon. Anyway, that's my river.